Paul, more good, positive, encouraging signs today?
Yeah, I believe so. Thought we played some really good football first half. Second half, a little bit slow to get going, then had some spells again. Obviously got what turned out to be the winning goal. But yeah, it's pre-season, so I'm not going to get carried away, same as if things go against you. But in terms of style of play and what, again, we're trying to encourage, I thought there was a lot of good signs out there, and then these situations where, again, you have to take some learning from. So as much as we want to play a certain way, if they, commit extra men to a press, understanding where that next pass needs to go. But yeah, a good test.
And nice to get a couple of goals as well. Tommy O'Reilly and then Tom Bloxham for 2-1.
Yeah, own goal and Tom Bloxham, I would say. Similar to the other night, the other way around. Obviously, they had a free kick and deflected in, and we've had the same today. But I thought, again, a lot of our play warranted getting in front, conceded from a set play. Early days, I'm not going to sort of beat anyone up about that, but that's something. They had that and a free kick. We've got to make sure we're better than we were last season, across the whole season, in terms of goals conceded from set plays. Certainly an area we want to improve on, but then a good response to, well, like I said, second half to get the win.
I think it's the start of football that the fans are really enthused and encouraged about. Really good to watch, really playing some nice football, easy on the eye football.
I think so, but there's also, there'll be some other moments that be art in the mouth, and again that's partly us, and partly there will be times when it doesn't quite go to plan, and if some of those mistakes are pounced upon, some of the fans might not be so keen on the style of play then. So again, it's always trying to strike that balance and an understanding. What I would say, it's pre-season, as I've said, and again, many moons ago, but as a player, I can remember one pre-season in particular, we were playing, not maybe quite that, but decent football, taking risks. Within 10 minutes of the first game of the season, once a ball was given away, it was like, right, you're booting that ball up the pitch. So we've got to try and keep that to a degree, but I think there has to be an understanding. One way or another, the challenge will be different in terms of League One football and when there's 3 points on the line. So we've got to try and keep a lot of what we are doing, but like I said, there will be, whether it's the opposition asking different questions, whether it's us, understanding certain situations. Now is the time to not experiment, but to practice what we'd like to do, and see how we go.
You're a couple of weeks away from the big kick-off, the first league game at Stevenage. Are you where you want to be at this stage? Not
quite, because of the squad and obviously work, but I kind of had a caveat to that, as in I think there's a lot of teams out there that aren't set and perhaps won't be even when that first ball's kicked. We've certainly had it before, so we're not on his own, but again, we're back to ideals. We would still obviously like a few more bodies in. Fitness wise, hard to judge entirely. I thought today we sort of seemed to tire in that second period. Again, maybe understandable to a point. We certainly have trained more in terms of going into a game as we will do in terms of if it's a league game, but at the same time, that's hard to call overall whether we're quite where we want to be physically. There's definitely some improvements to be made still, but overall, yeah, I don't think we're in a bad place.
A trialist in midfield today, it's been suggested it was Jordan Rossiter. Is there anything you can tell us, Paul?
I just thought that the midfielder did pretty well. I thought he broke up play well. He clearly understands the position, and showed a lot of know-how, I think, out there. Like I said, broke up a lot of play, won tackles, did the bits that I think he did impress. Certainly impressed someone who was shouting for me to sign him. But I think for some people he wouldn't always be the obvious one. He did a lot of the things that I think his teammates and staff would really be kind of keen on, and like I said, played with a discipline and an understanding of what his role is. So we might see him again? We'll see. Watch the space. No George Nurse. No.
in the squad today. What's the news there for?
Just a bit of a niggle. Shouldn't be anything to worry about at all. But I think with any player at this time, we're not going to take unnecessary risks, and we're certainly not going to take that risk with George after the time that he's been out. But overall, like I said, it shouldn't be anything to worry about. Just, I think I think Telford probably be too soon. Next weekend away at Oldham, depending on when he's back training, he could be involved in that one.
2 new signings in the last 24 hours. Happy with that? Can you tell us a little bit about them as well? Yeah. Josh and Joe?
Yeah, Joe had obviously been training with us for a few weeks, played the games. Thought he did well today, and has earned a contract, so he will obviously be with Toby, our two keepers. Nice to get Toby out there today for the first time. It was always a plan, so again, nothing sinister there in terms of him sharing the minutes. And JJ, we've only signed in yesterday. No desperate rush. He has been training. He's been playing. Just didn't feel that it was quite right to involve him today.
2 more friendlies to go. Then you've alluded already, Telford and Oldham, and then it is the start of the season. It's starting to come around, isn't it, pretty quickly now?
I just said that to the players there. It's I'm obviously very friendly with quite a few members of Derby staff, and we're chatting before the game, and it's all very nice and relaxing. A little bit like that anyway. But when I spoke to the players, part of the message was, look, it's pre-season, so there's still an emphasis on fitness and understanding each other's roles and what we're asking tactically. But we're 2 weeks away, and I'm pretty certain all the lads in that dressing room want to be in the starting lineup against Stevenage. So it is getting more serious in terms of how that game towards the end said from now on we want to approach the games and now they may perhaps finish depending on scoreline as though there is 3 points at stake, because we were still just playing with almost kind of a freedom and pushing, like Luke Hull, just as an example, way up the pitch, when if that's a league game with 5 minutes to go, he'll either be getting taken off or he'll be in a different position. And that's no sort of slight on Luca, that as in just the importance of 3 points. If you're in that position, if we're chasing a game again, it might be something different the other way and leave yourself more exposed. And that's where the pre-season games, there isn't that, it's a different sort of style, it's a different mentality in terms of how a game sort of probably finishes, rather than, like I said, if you're really chasing for an equaliser or trying to hold on to a lead.
Just finally, Carl Winchester has captained the team, I think, in all 4 of the pre-season matches so far. Is he in line to be your captain this season? Yes,
he will be. That's not been a final decision. I read, I think, the team today, this big fuss about how they've lost 2 captains and they're on the 3rd captain, and I'm not really bothered about that at the minute. We'll get there. He's got the respect of the players anyway, and there'll be perhaps a couple of candidates, but the squad isn't in place, as I said, yet. And if we ended up signing someone that's been captain at every club he's been at, and I feel he's got that standing and deserves to be captain, then that person would be. But at the minute, certainly more than happy with Carl. Thought he's been excellent pre-season. My honest view on that is he's upped his levels from last season, and he did well for us. But I think he's showing, even more, in my opinion. Today, he took a bit of a knock today, kept out there. That's why we took him off, to try and not, hopefully, have overdone it on that. So we'll have to see how he is. We can see tomorrow. We've got the open day. Fingers crossed he's okay, because he's been excellent for us so far.